So let's talk about how do we find coterminal angles. When we're given values here that are in radian and in degree mode, we're going to figure out how do we find the coterminal radian or degree angles for those given ones here. So in order to understand this concept first, so let's take a look at a unit circle here. All right, if we're taking a look at a given circle, all right, so let's just say we're going to start right over here, you know, right at 0. So what we hopefully should know about a circle here is if I don't move anywhere on this circle, I am here at 0 degrees. If I make an entire loop around the circle, an entire loop around the circle is 360 degrees. So technically, 0 degrees is the same exact thing as 360 degrees. Because if I don't move anywhere, I'm at 0. If I make a full loop around the circle, even though I've gone completely around the circle that's 360 degrees, I'm back returned to the same spot. So even though, you know, it's the same exact spot, that counts as 0 degrees and 360. And I can make another loop around the circle. That's another 360 degrees. So 360 plus 360 would be 320 degrees that I've gone. And I can keep making loops and keep making loops all day long, end up in the same exact location, but yet depending how many loops I've made around the circle, I've traveled a different distance, right? Same thing in radian mode. In radian mode, you know, when you haven't traveled anywhere, that's still 0 radians. When you go fully around a circle, that is 2 pi. All right, so if I start at 0 with no movement, obviously at 0, one loop around the circle puts me at 2 pi. If I make another loop around the circle, that's another 2 pi. So that would be a 4 pi, and then a 6 pi, and then an 8 pi, and so on and so forth. Again, same location, just different distance, just depending how many loops we've made. So the whole concept of coterminal angles is we're given a set measurement here, but the measurement that we're given is either less than a full, or it's greater than 360, it's greater than 2 pi, or something like that, to where we want to take, you know, maybe something, you know, let's pretend we were given 4 pi. Well, we want to convert it to just one loop around the circle. What would 4 pi actually look like, you know, if we crunch that down to one rotation instead of multiple rotations, right? 4 pi would end up being the same thing as 0 degrees. If we're given something in radians, all right, which is our top two over here, we're either going to add or subtract 2 pi to it until we get something within 0 and 2 pi. If we're given something in degree mode, we're either going to add or subtract 360, right? We're going to add or subtract a loop until we get within 0, 360 degrees. So that's another important thing to know. If they give you a measurement in radians, you are looking to put your measurement between 0 and 2 pi. If you're given a measurement in degree mode, you are looking for a solution between between 0 and 360 degrees. So for example, negative 5 pi over 3. This is a negative angle, and a negative angle goes it goes clockwise on a unit circle, goes the opposite direction here. If it's negative, we're going to want to add 2 pi until we get a positive value within 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so we're going to start with negative 5 pi over 3. And let's add 2 pi to that. If we add 2 pi, because we're working with fractions here, we're adding 2 pi over 1, which does mean that we need to get common denominators and all that fun stuff here. Common denominator of 1 and 3 is a 3. So I'm going to multiply this one by 3 over 3 here, which actually makes that, I'm going to move over the negative 5 pi over 3. And we converted 2 pi over here to 6 pi over 3. Go ahead and add this up. Now that we have common denominators, our denominators are 3. Our numerator, negative 5 pi plus 6 pi is 1 pi. We are left with pi over 3. Check to see, is your answer here bigger than 0 but less than 2 pi? Pi over 3 is definitely bigger than 0 and less than 2 pi, so pi over 3 is my coterminal angle. If I look at 23 pi over 6, this is a very big angle. This is almost equal to 4 pi. So because this is a much larger angle here that I'm looking at, this is going to be a few times around. Because it's a very large measurement, we're going to want to subtract 2 pi until we get within our parameters here. So I'm going to start with 23 pi over 6. And now I'm just going to subtract 2 pi away until I'm left with something between 0 and 2 pi. Now, just to make the subtraction easier on ourselves, common denominators here, 2 pi, all right, I'm going to need to get common denominators with the 6. So I'm going to need to multiply this by 6 over 6 over here. 2 pi is the same thing as 12 pi over 6. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in over here, and I'm just going to call 2 pi 12 pi over 6, so I don't have to keep converting every single time. Now when I subtract here, 23 minus 12 is an 11 pi over 6. And again, just ask yourself, is 11 pi over 6 between 0 and 2 pi? And it definitely is. All we had to do was subtract 2 pi once to fit within our parameters here. Now for our degree measure, if we're given a degree measure that is negative, something like negative 120, again, if it's negative, you want to bring it positive, somewhere between 0 and 360. So we're going to take that negative 120, and let's go ahead and add one full loop around the circle to see where we'd be left at. If we do negative 120 plus 360, that leaves us at a 240 degree measurement here. 240 is between 0 and 360, so 240 is our coterminal angle here. Very, very similar version here for the degree. So the measurement 1,270, very, very large angle. We want to bring that in within one loop around our circle. So really we can take 1270, we're going to subtract 360 until we get something within between 0 and 360. If we do 1270 minus 360, we are left at 910. That is still too large. Again, we want it between 0 and 360. Go ahead and subtract another 360 from that. If we subtract another 360 from that, we are left at 550 degrees, which again is still large. So let's go ahead and subtract another 360 from that. And if we subtract one more 360, we are left at 190 degrees. 190 degrees is within our parameters, so 190 is the coterminal angle to 1270.